I like to win, but more than anything, I can't stand the idea of losing because to me that equals death.
In 2009, I set out to make a film about Lance Armstrong's comeback year. Lance, how you feeling?
Nervous, but that's good.
I wasn't naive about past doping allegations,
Never tested positive.
They think he has.
He didn't.
but I couldn't help but root for the old pro.
If I win again, they can't say that. They cannot. Well, you can, but...
He had lied to me, straight to my face, all throughout 2009.
UCI will ban Lance Armstrong from cycling.
When the truth came out, I told him he owed me an explanation.
After the years and years of just the most amazing denials.
And emphatically say, I'm not on drugs.
He agreed to sit down one more time.
This is the story told in The Armstrong Lie, the latest documentary from documentarian Alex Gibney, and it shows a really illuminating picture and a very full picture of who Lance Armstrong was and the lies that he told. You know, it's not a simple story. It's not a simple truth. There's lots of people who have lots of different versions of what went down, and Lance has his own version, and he's doing a lot of talking in this documentary. You know, Gibney is extraordinary in his ability to get interviews with all the people who tend to matter on a subject. Was able to talk to Eliot Spitzer in the documentary about Eliot Spitzer's infidelity. So it's no surprise that he's able to get some really, really interesting, unique answers out of Armstrong here. But it's the depth of his coverage that really made Armstrong Lie compelling to me. What was it to you that really stuck out?
Yeah, I agree with you. He has all corners kind of covered. So what I most like about this movie, I guess, is that he leaves it up to you to decide who you think is most at fault. He lays out all the facts for you. He shows everybody's side. He's not biased, per se.
One of the things that you know coming in is that there's...
Gibney, that is, not Lance Armstrong.
Right. One of the things you know coming in is that Lance Armstrong is already a much maligned figure. Public perception of him has already gone pretty much into the toilet. So Gibney doesn't really want to deal with that. He's not trying to tell you how to think about Lance Armstrong, which is refreshing because a lot of coverage of him recently has been about how bad of a person he is.
He does also remind us, though, that Lance is a human and he has a family and he did some good things while he was in power.
Yeah, but while not excusing all the bad things.
Yeah,
because he shows some of the ways Lance would eviscerate people, and Lance was a really gifted speaker. You really get a sense of how great of a storyteller and speaker Lance is in this documentary. And he ruined some people's careers, but he's also providing tons and tons of money and attention to cancer and is inspiring all these people to do all these great things. So
he's a two-sided man.
Yeah, in many ways it's a story of, you know, how much good cancels out evil, if any at all. And that's sort of what's compelling.
I guess he's not really saying that just because he did these good things, it doesn't mean that it excuses all the other horrible.
Yeah, it totally doesn't.
Like, the movie primarily is about Armstrong being kind of a horrible human
it goes
being,
into the depths of the lying and just how much work it took to, you know, cover up this whole steroid scandal. Because it wasn't a simple thing. Hundreds of people were involved and years of steroid abuse. I mean, he won the Tour de France 7 times.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's really unbelievable to see all the effort put in and how thorough the corruption was. Not just the cheating, but the corruption. Mm-hmm. And Gibney gets to the bottom of all. Gibney gets to the bottom of all of that. So it's really interesting to go on the journey that Gibney takes us on, and he actually ends up putting himself in front of the camera, which is a refreshing bit of the documentary because he even talks about how he was affected by being around Lance. When you're around a story that inspirational, even you want to believe. And for me, that's where the documentary is its most interesting, is in its analysis of the public's willingness to accept a lie. Because in all logic, there's got to be more to this story. And when so many fingers are pointed at him, it's the finger pointers aren't the exception; they're the majority. So
That's why so many people are so quick to, point the finger.
yeah, now that perception is turned, people just absolutely trash him.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting that the coin has flipped so much on Lance Armstrong.
It was in the process
Yeah.
of flipping for years. Like, people were just going back and forth on it, and now we can finally, like you said, those people who were waiting forever to call him a terrible human can now do so.
What I like about Gibney's documentary, though, is that it does really seek to find that middle ground, because
thank goodness.
nobody's story is black and white. There's always gray, and good documentaries thrive on exploring the gray area, and that's where this one exists. So it's not my favorite Alex Gibney documentary. That's probably still Client 9, the Eliot Spitzer story, but he's also got a great one about WikiLeaks that's out this year, and it's on Netflix Instant now.
I almost sang the South Park song.
I know
I'm
you
so
did.
Sorry.
But this is definitely a
Let me
worthwhile
winks.
documentary for checking out if you're interested at all in the Lance Armstrong story, even if you're not much of a sports fan. So on the infamous Pretentious Film Majors 5-star scale, what would you give the Armstrong Lie?
I would give the Armstrong Lie a 4 out of 5 stars. I thought it was really compelling and a very, I'd say, easy watch. Like, it's easy to follow, but still interesting. So yeah, I'd give it a 4. I thought it was good.
Yeah, for
You?
me, I'm also going to land at a 4. It's not one of the best documentaries I've seen, but it's a really compelling story. There's a lot of really good stuff there. And, it's thorough, and it isn't boring. So something that can be that thorough and not unentertaining is always a plus in my book. So yeah,
Indeed.
4 out of 5. It is opening, I believe, this weekend, but
Yeah.
it should be around next weekend as well here in Philadelphia. So be on the lookout for the Armstrong Lie.
This is not a story about doping, it's a story about power. And the story became hanging on to that power.
Let's get to the real nature and the real detail of the story. We haven't heard it yet, is the truth.